And welcome back to the Real Estate Show on KCMX News Media 880. Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the real estate guys with you. And thanks for joining us here today on KCMX Radio and, of course, on YouTube as well. Well, the real estate market's quite interesting around as we go, as we hit mid-February, heading on down. We've got three terrific guests in the house today. We're going to start next to me here is Cheryl Faria, and Cheryl is the president of the Valley Association of Realtors. It's nice. You've been with us about a year ago.
Yes, we came and visited with you guys, and we had talked about our association with not only what we do, but more importantly, too, with the access grants
with
that
access
we were doing.
And grants.
Yes.
And you served before, right? As president once before?
No, I've actually not been president before.
Okay.
I've had the honor of being able to be chairperson of YPN and such like that, but not president yet.
Yeah, so this is a new experience for you there.
Definitely.
And how you doing? Okay, you like it?
Oh, I completely enjoy it. Being able to do this for everyone within our association is just really something that I wanted to do, and more importantly, working with Tina and everyone else within the committees and our boards, very fulfilling.
Well, that's my next question. Tina Grimes is in the middle here, and Tina is the Executive Director of the Valley Association of Realtors and the SOMLS, right?
Yes.
Both of those you cover both of those.
I wear both hats.
Yeah, so and she's correct. There's a lot happening right now, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah?
Legislatively, just activities within our association that we're doing for things in the community. There's just a lot going on. And like you mentioned, the market is very robust. So
it's amazing here in winter, even with this rain and snow we've had.
Yeah.
And by the way, isn't it wonderful to have it?
Yes.
The rain and snow.
Yes.
I mean, I know some people don't like it, but I think it's great.
We
need
too.
it because, boy, we don't want to talk about drought anymore in summer and fires and smoke and stuff. That can take care of a lot of that anyway, so we'll see what goes on there. And last but not least is Denise James, is the executive of Rogue Valley Habitat, correct, Denise?
Correct.
And Rogue Valley Habitat's been around for a long, long time. People may not know that, but I know you've been around a long time.
We've been here in Jackson County since 1987.
87, yeah? And you're working with these folks over here now on what?
I
What's
love
been going
these
on?
folks, yeah. Well, they're actually going to be supporting us in our building project for the next year. And the Food and Wine Classic is one, but also they've provided volunteers. Our relationship has really been growing for the past few years, and we're just excited to partner with more realtors.
Yeah, well, I think, we always talk about what realtors do beyond just buying and selling houses, and it is really, when you start adding it up, and we talk to people all the time, it's amazing what realtors do beyond just buying and selling. There's opportunities to serve in lots of ways to go. Before we talk about all of that, let's talk about the market for a little bit, would you? Carly Cheryl's been here, of course, and around it every day. What are you seeing right now here in mid-February as we look at stats and things? There's a lot of activity.
Oh, there is. I think it's it's actually a very nice market right now. I'm happy that inventory is creeping upward, and that we're actually seeing new listings come out. And more importantly, you're having that moment where you can get out there in most price ranges and find a house for your buyers.
Yeah, those price ranges remember we've been talking about that $500,000 level. We're below it. You've got a lot more of a seller's type market still. There's still a lot of opportunities there above the $500,000. It's a little bit different story. But it's the same, and each community is different as well, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Of course, you have some areas that have a good active price range, depending on where it is. But more importantly, too, as I was mentioning, your buyers are really benefiting from what's going on right now. Yeah. We're really lucky that the interest rates have either dropped or leveled, which has been good. The buying power is there for them, and having the inventory for them to be able to look at and decide and not panic buy because of lack of inventory is really something to be said for what they're getting as far as homes at this time.
Absolutely. Now, some of those latest SOMLS stats that come out every month, new list. This is comparing the Januaries, okay? New listings, though, were down from a year ago, which is always, but I think February has seen a change. I agree with that. It really has. Pending sales in January were up 5.6%. That's good. Average days in the market, people always talk about that. 50 days. Okay, 50 days. That's down 57 a year ago. They're getting 94.5% of their list price. That's down. That's telling you that, again, you've got more negotiating power because their sellers are not getting, they were getting almost 97% of their asking prices.
very consistently.
Not anymore.
Right.
That's again telling you the market is normalizing as we go along. And the biggest changes that took place during that last month, available homes per buyer was 5.0, which is 52% higher than a year ago. That's talking about more inventory, right? That's exactly what that means. Yes. And the month supply of inventory, and that's what we use so much as a gauge. It's been 2 months, 1 month, 1.5 month supply, hasn't it? Okay, it's now 3.4. That's up 60% from a year ago, which again tells us a lot of things happening in the market. More inventory, more negotiating power for buyers and things like that. Your buyers, where you're seeing at Keller Williams, tell us where people are coming from, what you're seeing there, Cheryl.
I think it's consistent the way it always has been. Of course, we have people wanting to come to the Rogue Valley just because it's a great place. But at the same end, I'm seeing a lot of move around buyers because as you did mention, sellers, and they had this edge. A lot of sellers are tending to now want to sell, but do the move up, which is great because then it opens up the price range and the entry level price point. Yeah. So buyers with, again, too, the interest rates being where they're at, buyers are really able to come in and, buy their first home, get in and kind of keep us chugging along, not as stressful as it was a year ago with, maybe the 250, 300 range. And at this point, you can really find some great houses for people.
Yeah, I had my first experience with a campfire victim. There's a number of places out there that people out there, I should say, that have received insurance checks. They've moved here because there's no place down in those areas. And so we've seen some of that come up now and buy properties here. They have cash with them. Interestingly
enough, where we've seen the greatest number of relocations from the campfire area is to Grants Pass.
To Grants Pass.
They're seeing a large influx in Grants Pass.
Well, because I think Grants Pass is similar in many ways to Paradise, isn't it? Out in those rural areas out there. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Well, and that makes perfect sense when you think about that. Have either of you seen the effects? We've been talking about that the cities are making it much easier to add additional dwelling units onto properties now, trying to infill, do these kinds of things. Have you two seen any kind of evidence, any of that's going on, or is that just kind of still our pie in the sky?
Well, in Josephine County specifically, it's definitely going on. They actually, Julie Smelser, she's, I don't know if she's actually gone yet, but she will be leaving if she's not already gone. But while she was with Josephine County, she really went through a very careful, thorough, thoughtful process to put in place the ability to add ADUs.
Additionally, okay.
And there, to my knowledge, it has not been challenged by the state yet.
That's great.
There has been some questions come up about the way they structured the deed restriction on it.
Okay, right.
And we're trying to get some clarification on that, mainly just to inform future homeowner, future people buying that property, how that will impact them.
Well, one of the things that we find is I work with a lot of older people, older than me, okay, and there's so little housing available when you downsize and move, and where do you go? And, additional dwelling units in small places, and, we're seeing some of it, but, we talk about housing and shortages of housing, the Habitat, you're trying to help there. There's no one size fit all, and I know, and I complain about this all the time, but boy, what we're building and how we're building it and where we're building it is just, we got to help single people, because we got all this thousands and thousands of people and no place to go. Very, very limited. Try finding a park even for a manufactured home park. They're all full.
Yeah.
And so we got lots of issues with housing around. And I know that you two are right there on the top of this. You guys hear it all, right? I mean, you're right there.
Yeah. Well, and affordable housing is a really hot topic right now.
Yes.
At all levels, state, municipal, federal.
Right.
In fact, the state legislature right now has a bill in front of them, Senate Bill 608, that is proposing statewide rent control.
Right.
Unfortunately, what most people don't realize is that any kind of rent control bill in any area where it's already been passed has the opposite effect that they want it to.
Right.
It usually ends up hurting renters, not helping them. It usually reduces
the amount of inventory
the amount
available.
Of available rentals,
right.
And it also reduces the quality of the rentals.
The quality of it.
That's something that our state association, the Oregon Association of Realtors, is really working hard on and very closely with the state legislature to try to get them to understand the potential ramifications of what they're looking at, that while it looks like it works on paper, it doesn't work in reality.
In reality, too. Yeah, one of the stats that we heard, I think when Jim Remley was here last week, was first-time home buyers, which make up 32% of the market right now, which is really high. But renters believe on a survey that they have to put 20% down to buy a home, which is really an error. The average is 5%. The average is 5%. So if renters think that, they think they can't get that down payment, but they actually, it's much less than that. So there's opportunities out there, but boy, we need that all type of housing, and we're certainly seeing a lot of being built around. But when I go on the realtor tours, around our office tours, I go into a lot of new construction, and they're pretty much all 3-2s places.
Right.
That's what we see for, and that's, again, I just go back that we have a lot of need for other things too, and somehow we got to continue to evolve there.
Yeah,
I think
one of the tacks that the state association is taking in working on this Senate Bill 608 is to try to educate the legislators that the way to increase the amount of affordable housing is to let's ease the red tape. Let's make it easier for the builders to actually build and increase the supply. Then that in itself is an organic rent control, because when the supply, it's a supply and demand issue.
Yeah. Would Brad Bennington love to hear you loves hearing you say that. I'll tell you that. He complains bitterly. I mean, he says the cost of red tape on just new construction is like, was it, Joe, 40%, something like that of the cost sometimes of this, which is just outrageous for that kind of thing. But anyway, we see a lot of activity. I mean, there's a lot of new construction still going on. So we're seeing a lot of activity, which I guess bodes well for our economy, which people obviously have jobs and people are still coming here. Remember, we got boomers are retiring $10,000 a day for 20 years, and we're only a few years into it. Right. Remember that. I mean, that's what's so interesting about as the market changes and our demographic changes and our need changes for different housing. So it's good to know that RVAR and the Oregon Association of Realtors are really the forefront with the legislature in terms of protecting those private property rights and housing issues, aren't they? They're the only ones.
One of our main missions, and we're one of the few associations that not only lobbies for our members, but also for their clients.
Yeah, because it's the clients at the end are the ones who, and there's so many crazy bills. I mean, what I've learned over the years of doing the show is that real estate is such an easy thing to tax. Politicians love that. I mean, it's an easy thing to tax.
It's a low-hanging fruit.
Boy, and they really go after it too, which is so interesting. And of course, once again, they're up there in Salem, but again, OAR is there, and that's really good. We got a break coming up here. When we come back, you got some changes coming up at RVAR down physical plant, and Rogue Valley Habitat for Humanity is the recipient this year, part of the money from the Food and Wine Classic. All that ahead when the Real Estate Show continues here on KCMX right after this. And welcome back to the Real Estate Show here on KCMX News Media 880 and on a YouTube channel as well. RealEstateShowOregon.com is our website. Pete Castro here. Gosh, we have a great show today. We're talking with Cheryl Faria, I should say, from Keller Williams, and she's the president of the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. And I love having Cheryl here. I really do. It's always good to see have you come. Tina Grimes is the executive director of the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors and head of the MLS as well. And Denise James is the far side here, head of the Rogue Valley Habitat. So before we get into the Food and Wine Classic, because that's a big event coming, tell us what's going on down at RVAR itself. What are you doing? You've really got, I see construction trucks there. You're moving or something. So tell us what's going on.
Yeah, we're doing some badly needed remodeling and updating. For those who don't know, we're down on Frankhead in the old DMV buildings. I actually went there.
Is that what it was?
I went there to take my driver's test in 1986.
That's what that building was.
And now I work there.
You've really gone a long way in 30 years. Wow.
Yeah. So we own both the buildings, and we're doing some reconfiguring and moving our staff offices from the one building into the other. So we're getting that building remodeled. And then hopefully, if the budget allows, we're going to remodel the building the staff's currently in into large classroom space and event space, and be able to use it not only for our members, but rent it out for
Oh, you can rent
to
it
the
out
community
too.
too. Yeah.
Space is always really important.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen over the years, in having classrooms there is really smart, because one thing I really noticed over the years is that RVAR does and provides so many more classes for realtors than when I first started 10 years ago. I mean, there's a lot more. It's really wonderful to
yeah,
me.
when I started working at the association, which was in 2000, we did one class a month.
Okay.
In every month but December. So we were providing 33 hours of education a year.
Okay,
And,
which would give you enough for your 30 hours to renew your license.
Exactly.
Okay.
And over the years, as that has become more and more of a cornerstone of what we do and the benefits we provide to our members, as well as just wanting to increase the level of professionalism of the members so that you better serve the community. We are now, we have a full-time staff person that all she does is education.
Yeah.
And we now provide anywhere from 150 to 200 hours of education per year.
Yeah, we've had guests come in here. We've sat here, Joe, over the years and said, "Oh my goodness, you got to get to RVAR and do a class on these things." And several of those people have done that.
Yeah.
And I think that's really good, because they're wonderful things for everybody. Because we always say whatever realtors know, everybody needs to know. You know, because there's so much to this, and the more you can never have enough education when it comes to this business, especially in this business. You really can't. Okay, well, when is all that going to be done then?
So the first phase, which is us moving into the other building, will probably happen around the middle of May.
Okay.
And then, like I said, the other one is unknown at this point because we're still trying to work the budget out.
Oh,
so
just write the check and just go. Cheryl, just write the check.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're good to go. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, the Food and Wine Classic. Yeah, it seems like every organization around has one big event a year. To raise money for projects for something that you believe in. So, first of all, the Food and Wine Classic has been going on for
this year will be the 9th annual.
9th year.
Yeah.
So. Obviously, it's a success, or you wouldn't be doing it.
It has become a signature event for us.
Okay. Yeah. What's it for? Why are you doing it then?
All of the proceeds go to the Oregon Association of Realtors Home Foundation.
The Home Foundation, okay.
And then the Home Foundation, in turn, provides grants to places like Habitat for Humanity and the First-Time Home Buyers Grant Program that we set up through Access. We've had money go to a local organization called Aging. What are they called? Their program is Aging in Place, but that's not the name of the organization. I'm drawing a blank. Age Friendly Innovators.
Sharon Johnson. Okay.
And then just this year we had some of the funds go to Hayden Homes nonprofit arm called First Story.
Okay.
Yes.
And all of the funds that we raise at the Rogue Valley Food and Wine Classic are earmarked to stay local.
Okay, cool. All right.
So even though it funnels through the state foundation, they're earmarked to stay local. And then because we do that event, the state foundation looks on us very favorably and usually adds a lot of statewide funds on top of it.
Okay.
Which is how First Story was able to get some funds this year because all of our local funds we dedicated to our Habitat house, because we're very excited that this year, for the first time ever, we are going to build a realtor Habitat house.
Well, it follows, if my memory serves me right, it follows. Didn't the home builders do this a few years ago with Habitat or something, to build a home, or they build a home or something along those lines? But this is really good to hear that this is going to happen, because I suppose if realtors should build a house, right?
Yeah.
Denise, what do you think? I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
All right. Tell us about Rogue Valley Habitat. I know you've been around a long time, so this association is really kind of cool. When's this going to all happen? What happens with this?
Well, we're hoping that it's going to happen. Well, we know we're going to start building the house this spring.
This spring, okay.
It will be in Rogue River. We have a large development there. We're going to build 16 homes. The first 2 are complete, and the third will be the RVAR home.
Now, I had someone from Habitat did a presentation at the Ashland Rotary Club, I don't know, a few months ago, and I remember them talking about some of the projects that were out there, including this big one in Rogue River, which is it the biggest one that Habitat's ever done, that kind of a development there?
It is the largest one we've ever done.
Okay.
We had land was donated to us a few years ago.
That was the key,
yeah,
isn't
it was
land?
the key.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just couldn't turn that down. And Rogue River really needs housing.
Yeah.
There really is nothing there for affordable housing. So we felt like it was a great opportunity. It's been slow going. We had a lot of infrastructure work we had to do. We had to fund a lot of our funds in that to complete that. And then we must raise funds for each house that we build. So we own them all outright by the time we're done, and then we sell it to the qualified buyer. We hold the note. So they pay us back an affordable note payment every year for 30 years. So even though we get that money back, it takes a long time to get it. So we're always having to fundraise for each project as we go along.
Well, you talk about using money wisely. Is that in your own home? So how are you going to get realtors? How are people going to do this? You two? I'm curious as to Cheryl, Tina. I mean,
this is actually
do they really
exciting.
go out and build the thing? You go out there. I mean,
Yes.
you're gonna have
yes.
people come out and do this.
We need to sit down and finalize everything, but we're wanting to have fun with it.
Okay, all right, that's good.
We're gonna have several build days that are dedicated to us, and we wanna have some office competitions about who can get the most people involved. And we don't have the complete amount of funds that we need, so we're gonna do some challenges for getting those additional funds. Cheryl, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, Cheryl's gonna hold up the T-shirt we had made for our build days.
Build days.
Here's the front.
So the front is the Build 2019 with both of our logos on it, and then Brandon at Habitat came up with the best
This
slogan
is
for
so
the back.
Cute.
Put down your phone and pick up a hammer.
This is for all of us realtors to be able to work.
Show the front
The
again.
front again. There you
That's
go.
funny.
So-
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that
Yes,
thing. Put
I
your phone
love the
down.
theme.
I like that. Yeah.
So we're excited.
Okay.
We just want to have a lot of fun with it and make it a real part of why we love the idea of being in the Rogue River Project is since we represent the realtors in both Jackson and Josephine counties.
Right.
That's a good bridge community.
That really is. Yes.
For getting realtors in both counties involved and having some fun with it.
How many homes can Habitat build in a year? I mean, how many have you built in? I know you built a lot over the years.
We typically build between 3 and 4 houses a year.
3 and 4. That's a lot.
That's comfortable for us to build. We use all volunteer labor. We build 3 days a week typically. This coming year is going to be a little different. Both in Rogue River and in Medford, we have some projects that are time sensitive just because of other funds we've received. So our goal for 2019 is 7 houses.
7, wow.
So we're going to be
ambitious.
very busy. The realtor house, RVAR house is going to be strictly dependent on the number of realtors that come out and volunteer. We have paid staff that will supervise and make sure that people are hammering in the right place.
Now, we don't want to come here next February.
Oh no.
And the house ain't built yet.
Yes.
We're gonna.
But we are fundraising nearly $60,000 a home.
I was gonna ask you what is the cost to do that?
For us, it's about $60,000 in cash. We normally receive about $20,000 in gift in kind. That's people that donate plumbing, their work at plumbing or electrical. We have some partnerships with Valspar Paint that provide all the paint, with Allura Siding that's providing siding for us.
Okay.
Gaff Roofing provides the roofing. So we have about $20,000 worth of donated materials.
Donated materials
for each house.
to it. Okay. Wow.
So this particular sponsorship is very meaningful this year because we have a very big agenda.
And most of the Habitat houses, are they 3 and 2, 3 bedroom, 2 baths, or what are they actually? How size wise?
They are mostly 3 bedroom.
Okay.
We have built some smaller ones in the past, and we have built for 1 persons and 2, but we really try to build so that there's some resale value. And sometimes 1 and 2 bedrooms are difficult to resell, so we try to stay within the market for the buyer so that in the future they'll be able to sell. We used to always build with 1 bathroom, and we've realized the same thing, is that we really want that resale value for the clients.
Yeah, so you want to put 2 in, right?
We've been putting 2.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that makes a lot of sense because the people then they own them, right? Eventually, they own them, and they eventually can sell them, right?
Correct. They can sell them at any time.
At any
There's
time.
there's a very complicated formula on how that works so that we share the equity, and they're not really able to flip a Habitat house and take advantage of that.
And do you have a waiting list of people wanting to participate in the Habitat projects, or do you have to seek people out, or tell me where that is?
We are always seeking people out. We actually accept applications twice a year.
Oh, okay.
We have to follow every mortgage regulation. We are the developer and the lender and the builder and the real estate agent. We're all of those. So we have to follow every federal guideline.
Oh,
so
that would be,
yes,
that would, okay.
we really only accept applications twice a year, and that's for the specific projects we're building for. So we're in the process for Rogue River. We have 5 other families that we're waiting for us to be building for right now.
And they're all families.
They are right now,
Okay.
but they haven't always been.
Have not always been.
Nope. Last year we built for 2 single people. In the past, we've built 4 sisters that live together. It just depends on the situation. A lot of times it will depend on the land that's maybe donated to us or discounted, and if the land can only accommodate something small, that's what we'll build.
Oh, okay. So, but it's really the land issue, isn't it? That is always going to be the thing because it's more expensive than it was, 10 years ago when the recession was, right? I mean, that's the deal.
Very true.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll be able to get that in builders and people with that donations.
Well, we've never had a problem as our association getting volunteers for the days that we've been doing.
Really?
In
fact, we're turning people away usually.
Yes,
Really?
and why
Yeah.
we're so excited to be able to do this and not only take the proceeds that we are able to make and keep it locally and work with Habitat, but more importantly, this will actually be the first year where everyone who wants to work on the house will get a chance to work on the house.
Okay.
And again, really, I don't feel any reason to think, oh, how are we going to be able to get people
I'm not
involved?
worried about it at all.
We are excited to be able
Yeah.
to get every office out there, along with affiliates and just bringing everyone together to be able to do this. And at the end of the year, be able to turn over those keys and say
That'll be
that
quite a party.
something we
That'd be
did.
quite,
Yes.
quite a thing.
It'll be fun.
And it
Quite a
certainly
party, yes.
and it certainly affects the recipient of a home.
Oh,
I mean
it's-
that
it's-
changes your life forever.
Oh, it's life. It is life
It
changing.
is amazing.
You can't get any better than that. And let's face it, that's part of life that we like to do. It's a fun part of things. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. And we don't want to be here next year and say it didn't happen. All right,
we won't
Mark
be.
that
It will
down.
happen.
It will go through. We got one more segment to go here. We're talking with Cheryl Faria. She's the president of the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. Tina Grimes, the head of the whole organization, and Denise James from Habitat. We're coming right back to KCMX right after this. The Real Estate Show continues here on KCMX News Media 880. Pete Belcastro with you here today. Joe's running the YouTube events today for us in the background a little bit, but back with us as well. Today here on the show, we've been talking with 3 interesting people. Cheryl Faria, she's the president of the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. She's right here. Tina Grimes is right here, and Tina is the head of the RVAR and the SOMLS, and Denise James at the far end is head of Habitat, Rogue Valley Habitat. We got big events coming up. March 21st, I know, is the event at the Inn of the Commons.
Yes.
People, I know it's sold out every year.
Yes,
But
so, yeah.
okay, but tell us where you at.
So it's the 9th annual Rogue Valley Food and Wine Classic, March 21st at 5:30 at the Inn at the Commons. Tickets went on sale last Monday, and the reserve tables are already sold out.
Wow. Yeah.
So what we have left now is individual tickets. They're $40 each. And we have about 100 of them, and those will probably go pretty quick too.
Yeah, I was
so
gonna say, yeah.
I think by the end of the month we will probably be completely sold out, if not, the first week of March. But it will sell out well before the event.
Yeah, it's a big thing. I
Yeah.
mean, it's one of those that support. What's cool about them is that when people support you, your members support you when you're doing something, isn't it? When you're the leader. It's always good to have an event sold out rather than not.
Yeah, well, and it is open to the public. I mean, you don't have to be a realtor to come. If somebody from the public wants to buy a ticket, we're happy to sell them a ticket.
Yeah.
It features 16 to 18 usually local food providers, and then 16 to 18 local. I won't just limit it. We call it the Rogue Valley Food and Wine Classic, but over the years we've added in some breweries. And, And a couple of years we had even a specialty tea.
Very good.
Person, and I don't know if he's coming back this year or not, but I haven't seen the list yet.
Yeah, anybody can come back.
So it's a really fun evening. The Rogue Suspects play music for us. This year Danielle Craig's going to be our MC, and it's just going to be a really fun night. We have amazing silent auction items, and then we've got some really fantastic live auction items coming up, and it really involves the whole community.
Yeah, I give away one of my famous Italian dinners.
Yes, it's one of our best live auction items.
It is, and
always appreciate it.
Last year, Bob. Was it Horton, right?
Yes.
From Central Point. Bob, we went to your house and we had a great time, and he spent a lot of money for that too.
Yes.
We'll do it again this year, so make sure you do that.
Yes.
Okay, we'll change that. What's the biggest problem, Denise, down with Habitat faces? I mean, as you go through this, I mean, you're doing well. It seems like. What are the issues out there that people need to know about?
I think the number one issue, of course, is money. I mean, we have to, because we're fundraising
$60,000 roughly for a home.
For each home. Second of all, this year we've had a particular difficult time with some regulatory barriers. that's new to us, with some planning issues. We have a project in Medford that we're going to build 3 homes on, and we've just had a really difficult time getting all the city departments on the same page of what we want to do.
Really?
It's been a little difficult. We have some state grant funding for the Rogue River project, and there's a lot of requirements as well for there. So we've been really tied up with just getting through some of those regulatory barriers that are required.
I hate regulatory barriers.
Yes.
You know, because it really hampers a lot of wonderful projects and wonderful things, you know, that are out there. So, okay, we wish you luck with that then, okay? Tina, in the meantime, what's the biggest issues coming up for realtors right now? It's really the legislature, isn't it?
Yeah, this legislative session there's a lot on the plate that is at risk.
Yeah.
We already mentioned the rent control bill that is it's already actually passed the Senate, and now it goes to the House Ways and Means Committee, I believe. And like I said, our state association is working hard on that one. And then on April 2nd, we have our biannual Realtor Day at the Capitol, where all the realtors that can take the day go up, and we spend the day meeting with the legislators. And we're not talking about, you know, just things that benefit the realtor business. We're talking about how to protect property rights and how to preserve the benefits of home ownership, such as the mortgage interest deduction and your property tax deduction and those kinds of things. So it's a very important day. We're hoping to have 1,000 realtors show up in Salem on April 2nd. Last 2 years, we do it every 2 years because we don't do it in the short session. 2 years ago, I think we hit close to 800, so they're shooting for 1,000 this year.
Yeah.
RVAR has already reserved a bus to take as many of our members as we can, and I'd love to have the problem of needing a second bus.
Yeah. I can encourage you all. Please come with us.
Yeah, and you think about it, we also have 2 new legislators from Southern Oregon there for the first time dealing with seeing these kinds of issues, and that's Kim Wallen, State Rep, and Senator Golden, who was here back in September with us. So, yeah, that's different too. Though they need to be see some of this as well.
The really great thing about the realtor associations at all levels, local, state, and national, we're really nonpartisan. I'm not even going to say bipartisan. We're nonpartisan. You know, we form great relationships with people on every side of the aisle because everybody needs to live somewhere, no matter what your political ideology is, and so we're able to really form that relationship, and we have a really good history of working on both sides of the aisle. So we're really hoping that'll come into play this session that we're in right now, because it is such a different dynamic in Salem right now. And we're really hoping to leverage that relationship building that we've worked so hard on over the years. So
Sal Escoval, you know, was for a long time was the only realtor in the legislature, and I think when he was here a few weeks ago, I think he said somebody else is now up there. There is one.
Jack Zika from Central Oregon.
Okay, so there is one realtor out of that 90 is a licensed realtor. That was always interesting as well as that. Okay, Cheryl gets the last words of the day here as the president of the whole organization. You know, you get and the best part, you get to walk away at the end of the year. You know,
that's not, but you know, I guess I would want to go ahead and take the last minute then just to recap on what we've been talking about. First off, I'm going to encourage everyone to come out and build and help with this house. We need to make this happen.
Okay.
And our association's great at all pulling together, so we'll be reaching out to the offices, you know, really getting everyone involved. And then also piggybacking on what Tina just talked about with the Realtor Day at the Capitol. The more I can encourage everyone to go, and anytime you ever see anything where they're saying RPAC dollars, get involved. Our RPAC is what is doing and helping to drive a lot of this. So each time we see it, and you know, we pay our dues and parts of that go to it. Just encourage and remember that every time we do that, we're not only helping ourselves, but we're also helping our buyers, our sellers, and everybody be able to control things like the rent control bill, you know, and protect our mortgage interest
some of these
deduction.
business taxes that they want to raise in terms of one of the craziest ones to me is I think it's HJR 3, which would businesses, commercial properties would be property taxed at the real market value.
Yeah.
That would just be, I mean, I can't. A, it would be a windfall for governments, good for them to get more money to spend, but it would be devastating
Well,
for
it
businesses.
would
I
be
can't even imagine that.
Yeah, it would
It's
be
horrible.
a windfall for them for a year or two until all the
There was
businesses
no
had to go
businesses
out of
there.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
absolutely true, isn't it? Well, anyway,
Exactly.
okay, so March 21st, so we're out of time. So, Cheryl, good luck to you with the rest of the year as president.
you.
know,
Thank you
good
very
luck.
much.
Thank you for serving. I think we don't say
course.
that enough to people. So, that's
Thank
a
you.
wonderful thing that you do because we got to have people do that. Tina, good luck with all your projects as well, and we'll be seeing you soon. And Denise, same way with Habitat. It's a wonderful organization, and it's great. I think it's a great partnership. It's a natural.
I
It's a
agree.
real
I
natural
agree.
thing for
Yes.
realtors to be supporting. Let's build a house together. Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
some make a family and change their life. That's going to look cool. I love that kind of stuff. That's going to do it for the Real Estate Show here today. Thank you for joining us. You can check out all of our shows at realestateshoworegon.com. I'm Pete Belcastro. Have a great week, everybody, and God bless you all. We'll see you next week here on KCMX.